You're gonna be just fine.
I just talk. I just talk.
Listen to them, children of the night.
Sic transit gloria.
Thrill me.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kill the Cast. My name is Jerry, and joining me as always, the ever-quotable Jay.
Death to Videodrome. Long live the new flesh.
You sounded like if a Muppet was saying that.
I am a Muppet. Did
Like,
you know I'm made out of like foam and
A
shit?
little too happy. And of course, joining us, speaking of happiness, the Silent Hill biker himself, Kenneth.
Yes, I'm the epitome of happiness. Woo!
It's mostly your very calm and soothing Ric Flair woos that get me there.
Does it really? Yeah.
Yes, it makes me come.
It does it. Wow.
Yes. Every time. I have to hold back the sounds of my O face when you do that.
Nice. I don't like it when you hold back your O face.
Well, sometimes you got to be professional, and I'm nothing if not professional.
I suppose.
Speaking of being nothing, Jay, what have you been doing this week?
This week, nothing. Fucking, working. I quit my second job.
Yeah,
I don't know if that
yeah.
happened last episode. I got that Freddie and Jason half sleeve started, and it's almost to the point where it's healed enough that I can go back for the second session. So that's nice, and I've been trying to fucking finish out Days Gone, because that's a long-ass game.
Dope. Okay. Sounds good.
It seems like it would be like fucking The Last of Us long.
It's longer than that because it's open world, so there's a lot of fucking driving around and shit. But it's a lot of fun, and it feels like it's think open world Last of Us, because you do a lot of item collecting and crafting and stuff, and so it's a lot of fun. Makes it feel like you're in a zombie apocalypse, but it also feels like it's Sons of Anarchy fan fiction. So there you go.
When I get around to it, I have to check it out. I haven't been doing a whole lot of gaming lately. I haven't had a whole lot of time. Went to Florida, shit like that. So, damn. But it was only brief. And you said you quit your second job, and I am in the market for a second job.
Well, shit. If you lived here, we're hiring 8 people to fix fucking phones. I'll teach you how to do that.
Well, the problem that I've got down here is I've got to find a job that'll work around my current job.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So it since the time that I get off work at my current job fluctuates, I have to figure out the right time to start in the evenings and tell people that I can, and then having to work around the weekends when I have the kids.
That makes sense.
I'm not gonna give up my weekends with my kids. So
Yeah, no, God, no. That would just be terrible. You should try Walmart, because they are decent at working with schedules.
I actually signed up for Amazon Flex.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try that if I hear anything about it. With it being in Atlanta, and since I've got delivery experience anyway. So.
And prostitution's always a good market, I hear.
I have a small penis.
Yeah, but you can go for the bear community.
That's true.
Anyone who needs a bear, I guess I should say you could go for the cub community. And then you just gotta
he is a bear.
Yeah, you just gotta find the cub who's like cannot take a large penis. And so it's a very niche market, but I feel like it would pay well.
This is something that does not sound right to me about that.
What do you mean? What doesn't sound right about a niche market?
I mean, just what it's called, the cub market.
Oh. Okay.
Sound...
Well, I mean, it's the same dirtiness as like people who like to be called daddy.
Yeah, which is another one of those things that I'm just like, no, don't ever. If I'm in a relationship, yeah, just if I'm in a relationship.
Very into it. So
are you really? You like
bring
being
it on,
called daddy?
ladies.
I'm not into it. I don't like.
That's
I don't
okay.
like it.
You don't have to call me that.
I have a daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it would just be too weird to me.
And I'm from Alabama, so it just brings back too many past memories.
I was having a conversation about this town that I went to in Alabama with a friend of mine, and when I went into Walmart, I was down there, and I went into a Walmart, do normal things that you do in Alabama. What more? To go in there and pick up, ammo and gun stuff.
And heroin.
I don't know. Is heroin prevalent in Alabama?
Heroin's prevalent everywhere.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is all the people that were in there look like they all came from the same family.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, oh my God, are the stereotypes true?
as a representative of Alabama, I would like to clarify that yes, but we're still not as bad as Kentucky.
I mean, like, literally, I was looking at these people and they all had like the same type of facial features. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like, there was probably at least 70 or 80 people in this Walmart. You know what I'm saying? At least.
Yeah. In Alabama, Walmart's like basically a nightclub. That's where you go to hang out.
Yeah. And you see these people, man, and like, they all have like the same, like they literally look like they were from the same family. Like they were all brothers and sisters and cousins. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, is this just because I'm used to being in Atlanta where there's such diversity in Atlanta that nobody looks alike? Or is there really incest going on here?
A little bit
odd.
of both.
It was fucking odd, man. It was very strange.
Well, you kind of already went into it, but do you have anything else you've been doing this week? Kenneth?
No, not really. I mean, I got the collector's edition of Silent Hill.
Ooh,
Nice.
Oh my God, did y'all see that Scream Factory release list?
That's what I'm saying, man. They're killing it.
Holy
Scream
Blake.
Factory's fucking killing it, dude.
My Bloody Valentine getting a Blu-ray release fucking finally to take over the old out-of-print one. Hell yeah. A box set featuring every movie in the Fly franchise. My personal favorite, The Abominable Snowman. That is a great fucking Hammer film, and I can't wait to get that bitch. Oh, and then it's fucking Mutant Bear time. We're getting The Prophecy on Blu-ray, and I'm super excited. Me and Abraham Ram, the Ram Man, and Bo are gonna do a special episode covering The Prophecy.
Oh, I'd be down for that.
You're talking about Christopher Walken? That Prophecy?
No, the Bear movie Prophecy about the mutant bear.
Oh, okay.
Not the if y'all are thinking Christopher Walken, no, fuck that movie. He ain't got shit on mutant bear movie.
I started watching this channel on YouTube. You know how you got all these channels where it's like a top 5 this or a top 5 list of that or whatever.
Yeah.
I started watching this, and there's this channel that does horror movies, and it's like top 5, scariest body horror movies, or the top 5 fucking demon movies or whatever. And the good thing that I'm enjoying about this is that I'm learning about a lot of movies that I have not seen that I want to see.
That's the problem with doing any kind of top 5 or top 10 list. You always have to have that internal debate. Do you pick like the obvious, like fucking big one that should be on every fucking list, or do you throw something that maybe they've never heard of, that hidden gem?
Well, see, the crazy thing about this, and hang on, man, I'll tell you exactly what it is. The crazy thing about this is what makes it awesome is they use the normal, like the demon one, where they did the top 5 demon one. Mm-hmm. The Exorcist was the honorable mention at the beginning of it because it is the most popular and the most widespread.
Yeah.
So what they try to do is they try to avoid the ones. It's called top 5 scary videos. And that's what I've been watching. And like the one that I'm in right now is the top 5 creepiest tales from European history, part 2.
Yeah, you'll have to send me that link. I'll check them out. Because you're right. Because if I did like a top 5 natural creature feature thing, I would be like, of course, Jaws is number 1, so we're just gonna remove that off the list and continue.
Right. Exactly. Go ahead. That's what they try to do. Is they try to avoid the ones that we know are going to be a top key factor. You know what I'm saying? The ones that we all are going to feel that way. And actually, in the top 5 of the Demons movies, the first Exorcist was the one that was fucking honorably mentioned at the beginning, and Exorcist 3 was actually in the 5.
Oh, okay. I was toying around yesterday with show ideas, and I came up with a couple. And one of them I thought of doing was us taking like a list of subgenres in horror, and then for each subgenre, we have to give what the most popular movie in that subgenre would be, and then we would give like one we would recommend for someone to see that maybe they've missed or something along those lines. But it'd basically be us just doing like a recommendation show based on subgenres of horror. I thought that'd be kind of a fun show.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Like the top 5 I think it was like the top 5 Japanese body horror movies was on there, and Akira was number 1.
I could see that. And to be fair, I think it should be Tetsuo the Iron Man. But
That one was on the top 5 too. That one was
but
in there. I think that was number 2.
Akira, I could see Akira being like Tetsuo the Iron Man should technically be number 1 though.
It may have been. I may have them backwards, but I know they were both in there. And then
Akira would be the more popular one, but
and then there was another section of Japanese horror movies and something about Meatball something.
Meatball Machine.
Yeah, that one was on there.
I reviewed Meatball Machine Kodoku, the sequel to it, on Hero Hero Go Show. Fucking fantastic movie.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a lot of shit that I'm realizing that I really want to sit down and watch. So, for people that are out there listening, my realm of expansion may grow greatly here in the next, couple of months, as well as I have finally came to terms with the fact that I want to actually sit down and watch a Serbian film.
Oh shit, we're doing a Serbian film on the podcast. This is happening, everyone.
I have finally came to. I was watching some videos the other day, and they were talking about it, and I was just like, "All right, I am finally gonna fucking push myself to get through this movie, because I feel like that if I go my entire life and not watch one of the most, I guess, notable horror movies in cinema history, that I'm gonna be fucking doing myself a disservice, no matter how fucking shot out some of the ending sequences that y'all have brought up to me are." So I'm gonna finally push myself to get through it.
All right, hell yeah. Okay, we got some good episodes coming up in the near future. Then, as for me, I went to Georgia. I got extremely drunk. I went and hung out with Kenneth for a bit. I watched this movie. It was an anthology movie that was all about Peter Cushing thinking that the world is secretly controlled by cats, and that cats murder people. And like Donald Pleasance is in one of the segments. It's fucking great. It is an awesome fucking movie. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, please do, because this sounds interesting.
Yeah, dude,
the world being dominated by cats. I love it.
Yeah, it is awesome. I highly enjoyed it. I also watched Willow Creek, which was a Bigfoot movie. It's a little long for a like basically a slasher. I mean, you can kind of consider it just a party 80s vibe slasher. So it was a little bit long, but I had fun with that one. I was apparently the only one that had fun with it, but whatever.
I've been meaning to watch Willow Creek.
It's good. I enjoyed it. It's funny. Like, it's really fucking funny to me. But it's just a little, because it's almost 2 fucking hours, and it doesn't need to be 2 hours. Not for basically a fucking slasher.
Well, I mean, to me, one of the best Bigfoot movies that I watched was, and I don't know if is Willow Creek like legit Bigfoot, or is it like the legend? Yeah, the best one that I watched is called Exists.
Yes. Yeah.
That one was fucking great.
Yeah.
I really, and I know the dude that played the Sasquatch in that one, that played Bigfoot. I know the guy that did it, and he's also his name's Brian Steele. He also did the red fucking goddamn the red evolved version of Dracula in Blade 3. What else did he do? He was in Harry and the Hendersons. I'm trying to think of who else. He's been a bunch of the werewolves in fucking the Underworld series. He's done a bunch of shit, and that's who he was in that. And yeah, Exist was fucking great. And then I got another buddy of mine, Jerry. You know him. You know Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's wanting to go out and check out some of that stuff out in the woods and stuff, like actually go hunting.
Go hunting a Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bigfoots have interdimensional travel abilities.
Not like hunting, not like hunting, not like going out and killing.
Oh, he just wants to go out looking for a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I would totally go look for a fucking Bigfoot.
I think it'd be fucking awesome, and so because I find it hard to believe that nobody has ever got, like, you know, even though you say the interdimensional thing, which makes fucking perfect sense considering nobody in history has ever gotten a legit clear picture of these things. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I mean, I can't deny the existence of it because nobody has ever got a clear picture of an alien yet. You know, maybe here in the very near future.
here in the future, we will have them. We're storming
Yeah.
Area 51. We're
Yeah.
all gonna fucking die.
But yeah, so, you know, and that's another one of those things that, as vast as the universe is, I find it very hard to believe that we are the only life in it.
Yeah, and I just want to point out how fucking smart it is that this new depressed age we live in. Fuck suicide by cop. We're doing suicide by Area 51.
Yeah, hey, man.
That's
you
my
know,
plan.
how many people is fucking supposed to go out there and do that shit?
I mean, hundreds of thousands, but I mean, the group was always made with the intention of being a joke. It even says in its thing that, like, this is just a joke. We're not really doing this. But
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure there's some people out there.
Someone's
going
to show up.
Yeah, somebody's gonna show. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought it was great when fucking you start seeing celebrities like Keanu Reeves.
Well,
with
those were all.
hashtag-
Those were all. A lot of those were fake. The Snapchat pictures. Those are all fakes.
I know there was a couple of them that were legit, but only a couple. It was only a few. It wasn't like a whole shitload. Oh yeah, by the way, I found out today, if neither one of y'all know, Jeremy Renner, the guy that plays Hawkeye in fucking the Avengers, he also has a very prominent music career.
Yes, I found that out the other day too. I shared a link on my Facebook. I was like, this is a thing that exists. It's not bad. He's got a decent voice.
Right.
It's
I was
like,
listening to one.
pop rocky, so it's not anything.
Yeah,
All right, I'm
listening to
gonna
one of
have to
them
reel
today. It was
this.
great.
I'm gonna have to reel this in because it's just not horror related. So
Sorry.
I'm gonna.
Jeremy Renner was Jeffrey Dahmer. There, it's horror related again.
Yeah,
Okay, but-
and his music was great as he was putting drill bits into young boys' skulls.
Yeah. But anyway, continuing on with that, I went and saw Crawl in theaters, which
Me
I
too.
highly fucking recommend. I'm so sick and tired of these fucking sci-fi creature features, and I mean the channel who makes fucking shitty movies like Shark Exorcist. I'm tired of all that bullshit. Crawl takes it back to being a fucking serious film, and that movie fucking just jumps from the beginning and just goes, and I loved Crawl. I can't wait to get that on Blu-ray.
All CG.
Yeah, it's all CG, but I mean, it looks fucking wonderful.
Oh, okay, so it's not like
It's
not saying anything bad about it, but it's not like Lake Placid CG.
no. It's
No, the
it's
CG's on
fantastic.
point, and the animals are realistic in their behaviors, and the plot in general is very plausible.
They're
Okay,
only like slightly more aggressive than what they would really be in real life,
Okay,
like
yeah, 'cause I
for
was
Hollywood's
curious
sake.
about it.
But it's not. It is like a dead serious fucking horror film, and like the first jump scare that happens in it, fucking I about flew out of my goddamn seat.
Nice. I've seen a lot of good things about it, and then obviously with you being creature feature guru, I would fucking take your opinion over anybody else's. So
Yeah, this is the creature features that I want. This
Yeah,
is
me too.
exactly what I want with a creature feature. Please fucking do more Crawl. And apparently there's rumors of Aja getting to reboot Nightmare on Elm Street. So maybe there will be a Nightmare on Elm Street movie I actually like. Besides
who's supposed to be doing this?
Alexandre Aja. He's the guy who did High Tension and the Piranha 3D remake and the Hills Have Eyes remake.
Huh.
I didn't know
Wow.
he did High Tension. That's awesome.
Yeah. He's part of the French Extreme movement.
Yeah, 'cause the Hills Have Eyes remake was fucking insane.
Yeah, it was.
So shit, I still have like fucking 3 more things to talk about. We did a new underwater kaiju from outer space on the original Mothra from 1961. We also gave a small review of the steelbook for Mothra that just came out by Mill Creek. You can probably cop that for like $15. Beautiful fucking steel case. Also, if y'all didn't see this, the rumors started floating around today. A posting was made on a Target.com that was Godzilla the Showa collection on Blu-ray for $150. And apparently it was posted by the vendor who would normally do Criterion for Target. So this might be the Showa Blu-ray collection coming out from Criterion. And for $150, that is half of what I thought it would cost. So, hell
How many
fucking
movies
yes.
would that be?
15.
That's fucking.
That's like
$10
$10
a
a
movie.
Blu-ray. Yeah.
Yeah, and they technically have the right to a few other non-Godzilla movies that came out in the Showa era, like Rodan and War of the Gargantuas. So this legit could be a fucking huge box set, and if it's under $200, fucking sold. I will suck so much dick to get that. But as of right now, still a rumor.
Make sure you suck more cock, because Christmas is coming, and I'd love to have that for Christmas, Jerry.
I don't understand why you can't. What are you gonna give me some bullshit? Excuse? Oh well, my beard gets in the way.
Yeah,
No,
that's
fuck
exactly
you.
it.
I have a
most
beard
people
too.
don't like it when the beard tickles the butthole.
Well, I have a beard also. I glue it on. Okay.
I was fit to say, you got a beard also? Really? You talk about that little bit of peach fuzz that hangs off the bottom of your
It
chin?
is more than peach fuzz.
I mean, that don't even tickle a butthole. That tickles like the in between my fucking dick and balls.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't have that much hair. And then lastly, I have been streaming on fucking Twitch. I recently did Castlevania Rondo of Blood and got my ass kicked on that. I played fucking King of Fighters today, King of Fighters 94, and literally went through every single person I could play as and could not beat the first match.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was fucking awful. I finally made it reset and choose a different team, and I beat the other team, and then the next team I had to fight was the one that was the fucking first team that I couldn't beat. And I was like, God damn it.
That's fantastic.
So you can catch me streaming on Twitch playing video games, sucking. I'm kind of bouncing between. I played Ikaruga the other day, sucked at that. I've been also doing a longer video of playing Dark Cloud 2 for the PS2 if you want some fucking action RPG goodness. So all that good stuff, links are in the description for that kind of shit. Other than that, I think...
Wait. They're filming Conjuring 3 in Noonan.
Oh, I was wondering, I need to look it up. Did they ever settle that lawsuit with the guy who said he owned the rights to all the Warren cases?
I don't know whether they did, but I know that they're filming it because the house that they used for the house with the clock in its walls? Mm-hmm. They're using the same house for the Conjuring 3.
Oh shit! What is up with? Speaking of which, man, did y'all see the fucking lawsuit for It?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. That's a reach and a half, man.
So just for people who don't know, the producers behind the It miniseries from the 90s are suing the makers of It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, the new movies, claiming that these movies are remakes of the 90s series and not a readaptation of Stephen King's novel, and therefore they are owed money for it. And I'm just like, no, get the fuck out of here. You are, no, they are readapting the novel. Kenneth, you've read the novel. You've seen the 90s miniseries. Is there anything that you can remember that happened in It Chapter 1 that happened only in the 90s miniseries and not in the book?
Not really. I think the biggest thing, if either one of y'all have watched the trailer for part 2,
yeah,
I think the biggest thing that
I haven't watched the second one, and I'm avoiding it on purpose.
Yeah, I only watched the first one.
There are things in the trailer that come directly out of the book that were not in the 1990s movie at all.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, there. When it really comes down to it, I, in my personal opinion, I don't think that they can dispute this at all because there's so many. You can take a book and you can interpret it any kind of which way that you want. Okay, the only thing that I remember from It Chapter 1 that even is a slight throwback to the 1990s is when they were paying homage to fucking Tim Curry's costume when Richie goes into the room with all the clowns, and you can clearly see right before he gets to the casket with the puppet of him in it. You can see that,
and that's a fucking Easter egg. That's not
right. There's nothing else that I can remember in that movie because that's one of the biggest reasons why I didn't like it, is because the 1990s version, in my opinion, even though it was still there were still things that were away from the source material. In 3 hours of the first one, you got so much shit going on and so much more. And then in the new one, the pacing was so fast that you couldn't get as much shit in there as I thought, which was weird to me. But there's really not any major similarities between the two that I can think of, other than the things that are side by side from the source material that would be used. But hell, even then, I mean, the portrayal of fucking Pennywise is not anywhere near Tim Curry's at all. I'm not saying nothing against Bill Skarsgård. I mean, his interpretation of it is great, but damn, it doesn't seem like a ripoff at all. None of the way any of the other characters seems like a ripoff. There's nothing from the story from the first one that is exactly the same. They've actually changed more shit in the new one than from the book. So, I mean, there's really not anything that I can think of that even remotely resembles the 90s version.
Exactly. The most interesting to me is when I saw this, it got me thinking of John Carpenter's Thing, which is often helmed as the greatest remake of all time. And it got me thinking, does that count as a remake or a readaptation? Because it does follow the book a little bit more closely. And it just got me to, like, trying to go, that would be a really good debate, which once again led me to actually an older idea I had that, and I'm not the only, and a lot of people have had this idea. Watson came to me once with this idea, and I was like, oh shit, I have the same idea. So this is kind of well known, but I'm thinking about doing it. It would be a debate show that would be really like listener driven, because it would I would ask for topics from the listeners. We may do 1 or 2 topic a show. And then there would be me, and then there would be 2 people pro, 2 people con. If it's if the question was like, is John Carpenter's Thing a remake or a readaptation? And there would be 2 people pro, 2 people con, and then me as like a moderator and devil's advocate.
Ooh, I like that.
But you could also do it where it's not just that. I could also be like, okay, guys, what is the best werewolf movie of all time? And someone can be there to represent American Werewolf in London. Some people can be there to represent The Howling. Someone can represent Silver Bullet. And it can be kind of a fun debate. And then at the end of it, we can always give it to the listeners with a poll, and they will vote who actually won. And it could be fun because it could just be a interchanging thing. I've even came up with 2 names for it. The 2 names, and y'all can tell me what y'all think, since I'm giving away all my ideas on this episode. So the 2 I have is Roundtable of the Living Dead or Midnight Horror Debate. Kind of like a Midnight Horror Club, but
I like Midnight Horror Debates just because it's more about what the show's about.
Yeah, I could totally see myself sitting at a table smoking my pipe debating y'all over movies.
Yeah, so we don't know what the name's going to be, but I think this is something we might do. It will obviously it won't be like a standard Kill the Cast episode. It won't be a number Kill the Cast episode. It'll be another sideshow, and it'll be interchangeable guests. So sometimes Kenneth might be on, or Jay might be on, or I might have someone like Watson or Bo, or fucking Jamie, so she can come represent The Howling.
Right. What's your name on Twitch?
My name on Twitch is The Game Case Show, no spaces, all one name. And I'm on there being sexy a lot. Not really. I mostly sit in a chair and suck at video games. But, yeah, so that might be something we'll be doing soon. I've just kind of been toying around with the idea of it. I've got to kind of figure out when we would do it, because it would be... That one would be... I wouldn't have it, like, set on as a standard Sunday show. It would depend on when everyone can record. So that'd be a lot of fun. So, I guess, does anyone have anything else to say? Can we move on? We went like fucking 30 minutes just on introduction, which we normally don't do, but fuck it, we did it this time. Okay.
Well, we're only doing 1 movie, so we got time.
We only ever do 1 movie unless it's a horror coliseum. Or if it's an anime double feature. We have done 2 for that. Okay. Here we go. Today we are taking on David Cronenberg's 1983 body/psychological horror film, Videodrome. When Max acquires a different kind of show for his station, a sleazy cable TV programmer begins to see his life and the future of media spin out of control in a terrifying new way. 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, starring fucking James Woods, Debbie Harry from Blondie, and then other fucking people. You know, fuck them. I don't care about them. No, they're cool. So this movie was actually picked by Kenneth. So we're gonna throw this over to Kenneth and let him have first dibs on talking about Videodrome.
This is one of those movies that when I was younger, my dad introduced me to this one as well. As you know, most of your listeners out there have heard that my dad introduced me to a lot of those movies. And I can remember watching it. It's a strange movie to be watching with your dad when you're young. Let me just put it that way.
Dad, what's that on his stomach? Well, son, that's the future. One day we will add vaginas all over the place, and you won't have to choose just the one between her legs. You can fuck her shoulder, son. Thanks, Dad.
Well, I mean, I wasn't quite. I think I was at least a teenager. I was probably like 13 or 14.
Oh, did you have a weird boner to James Gunn's stomach? Not James Gunn, James Wood.
No, but I have had one to James Gunn's stomach before. You know, like when I was watching Slither.
Fair enough.
But no, I mean, it was one of those that at the time I could see the relevance that this movie had with the social commentary, but I didn't understand it to the level that I understand it now, especially with the internet and stuff like that. And I'm going to just assume that, you know, if people out there listening to this show, they've seen this movie. So, I think that the social commentary in this has a lot more, and in my opinion, it has even more relevance now than it ever has, even though it's mostly centered around television and how television can basically take away our time and things like that. And then the way that they're leaning towards, you know, how television can influence people and things like that, which, you know, there's always been that grand debate of whether television really influences people. But I think the internet has a lot more now to play into that kind of thing, because, you know, when we watch, when we see things on social media and things like that, I do believe that basically what we are being fed, you know, because a lot of people out there, and I've been guilty of doing this before, and I'm sure both of you have at least once, are guilty of not doing the research into things that we see. And so when we don't, we become, you know, influenced by these things. And sometimes we are, I guess, have a wrongful, for lack of a better term, opinion of these things because we don't have all the information that's needed. And so, you know, looking at Videodrome, there are instances in this movie where, you know, his character is highly influenced by these things that are going on. And then obviously, you know, with the hallucinations and whatnot. And I think that can reign true for, you know, in a metaphorical sense. I think that can reign true for people who get online and they see these things, and then, you know, all they're believing is what they're being fed instead of taking the time to you know, really look into some of these things, and it's like I said, the relevance to society, it goes really, really thick if you start looking at it from that perspective. That, you know, a lot of the people out there that see some of these things that we see online and are highly influenced by them, either in their attitudes or emotions or things like that, can go out and do some terrible things, just the way that I think that James Woods' character did in this, where he's kind of torn back and forth between what he's supposed to be doing because of the influences of Videodrome, and then him coming to fruition and being like, okay, fuck this, and killing the people that are responsible for it, and then eventually, you know, for the new flesh and whatnot, which I believe was at the end of it, when it ends, I believe that there was no further ascension. I think that it was a ploy to get him to kill himself. But, you know, when he comes around and he comes full circle and things like that. So I think it has if you really dig deep into it, it really has a lot of relevance to the way that we are influenced by things that we see and things that we read that are either 100% factual, not 100% factual, or lies mixed in with the truth.
For sure. I'm gonna let Jay. I'm gonna let you go before I jump in, just because I've got a lot of things I can say on top of Kenneth. So I don't want to take everything. So Jay, was this your first time seeing Videodrome?
Not my first time. First time in a long time, like over 10 years. It's been since I seen this, so it was almost like a new watch to me. I dug it. It's great body horror. It's got a good plot that keeps moving along, keeps you interested, and then the final series of sequences is just fucking bananas, which is always nice to get that payoff after a slower movie. I don't know how to follow Kenneth's summary of the metaphors in this movie.
Yeah, I've got a lot to say also.
I tried to keep my mind open to what the movie could represent. I mean, there's the obvious surface stuff like media is bad for us. People aren't letting their own thoughts be their own thoughts. We're consuming too much, that kind of stuff. Towards the end, I had a real hard time telling if what was going on was hallucinations or actually him, being controlled by the government or whatever agency had invented Videodrome or tried to weaponize it. So that was nice to really have a kind of open-ended ending and leave it up for interpretation, I guess is the right word. But overall, I really enjoyed it.
All right. Okay. So Videodrome. One, I love this movie because I love the subject matter. Everyone knows I'm very much into like internet horror. And so I like things that are media-based horror that would be the prerequisite to internet horror. And this is a big one of it. I love reading about like internet legends and shit like that, and like reading about snuff films, or reading about like the Max Headroom hacking incident, random fucking stuff like this. So this movie is just right up my fucking alley. And I think Kenneth is right. It does hit a little bit harder today because you think you could easily remake this movie and turn it into, using the internet and have it follow something like the Blue Whale Challenge or the Momo Challenge.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. Following those kind of like urban legends and shit. Cause like, things like the fucking, cause the Momo Challenge is really just a watered down version of the Blue Whale Challenge.
Right.
Because the Blue Whale Challenge can be way more fucked up. If you don't know what the Blue Whale Challenge is, it's a little internet game where you get sent random things to do and you have to do them, and it builds up to bigger things like staying awake for 3 days, cutting yourself, and eventually you're told to kill yourself. And you could easily take something like that, some kind of internet manipulation of a person, especially young people, which is where a lot of like this movie does not shine that light at young people. This is actually shining the lights at adults, which I think is fucking wonderful, because it so many times when we bring up, oh, we shouldn't watch this, it's bad for us, it's harmful to children, but we don't really talk about how it would be harmful to adults. And this one kind of shines the light at that, which I think is fucking wonderful, because we never see that. But it would easily be able to take it to this, and especially nowadays, because the internet has made all of these types of videos to be found a lot easier. We legit can go and find really fucked up videos, whether it's people being beheaded or one man, one ice pick. And if you think this shit doesn't exist, well, it does nowadays. Snuff film is no longer a fucking urban legend. If you don't believe me, look up Peter Scully. Look up him and Daisy's Destruction. Mm-hmm. And you will know how and now, I'm gonna warn you, really, really fucked up. It does involve children, but if like this shit does exist. People are buying this kind of shit on the deep web in foreign third world countries, shit like that.
where it's like, and to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, it's where things like Faces of Death and Traces of Death back in our day when we were young used to be the extreme thing. Even though Faces of Death, a lot of it's not real. Traces of Death was completely real. And the thing about it is that was one of those things back then that was extreme for us. Now, Traces of Death and Faces of Death is fucking cartoons in comparison to some of the shit you see on the internet now.
Yeah, I mean, did y'all see that fucking case of that happened this week of the girl who was, kind of like an internet personality or Instagram influencer? A fucking guy like slit her throat, took pictures of it, and posted it on Instagram.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's real fucked up. I mean, so like the fucking the whole idea of Videodrome that what's the guy's name? Fucking his stupid fucking TV name.
Brian Oblivion?
Brian Oblivion, yeah. Dr. Oblivion. And I like how it's done like it's Irish with an O and an apostrophe. But he talks about how the TV has become realer to us than real life. And if that's not the goddamn internet nowadays for people, I don't know. Like, his statement has come true because for a lot of us, we only exist on... When you're listening to this podcast, none of us have bodies. We are fucking floating voices you are hearing through a web of connections.
And we're just information. That's all we are. And that actual phrase, a lot of the things that the guy said and whatnot kind of rings true. And I got to analyze it myself when it comes to that. And it actually kind of rings true because when I'm sitting down and I'm watching a movie and any of our fans out there that are listening at this current moment, if you are into a movie enough to listen to this podcast, then you are into a movie enough for at that current moment while you're watching it, that to be all there is. And Jerry knows there's some movies out there that I get into so hardcore that for an hour and a half or 2 hours of my life, nothing else exists but that movie, but what I'm watching on the screen, nothing else. And so when I heard that, I was just like, wow. I mean, and that really rains home.
Yeah, to me, it's what makes this movie is the backdrop of what we see on TV is just as real life. And this movie takes it a step further with it, putting out there is not only is it real life, but it's the new flesh. It is the new world. And to me, when I watch it, I kind of go, is the new flesh the internet?
Yeah.
Like, is that the next step? Like, is that like taking your conscious and like your body dies, but you put your conscious on the internet, like you see like in Ghost in the Shell and shit?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we moving to that? Like, it's kind of insane watching some of these old movies and going, now with hindsight and new information that's out there today, can I go back and go, is Videodrome predicting the internet, or am I putting too much into it?
I don't think so. I mean, because I feel like that a lot of the people out there that have ideas like this, I mean, the crazy thing about it is even though that, when Cronenberg came up with this and whatever, it was obviously based off other things. There was a guy that did a lot of writing that the Oblivion character was based off of, and I can't remember his name now. I want to say it was like Mueller or something like that. People had this idea that the information age would come at such a wave based on the advent of the television that was just that the television was the first step. I mean, and then you could go back even further than that. But the thing about it is people would get lost in books and they would get lost in radio shows and stuff like that. But neither one of those mediums had the level that we have with television and now computers and cell phones. None of those had the level of getting into the mind of human beings for us to be continuously stimulated as these mediums do. And so to me, it doesn't seem like that for people back then that kind of thought a little bit outside of the box. It doesn't seem like that the idea that we would be so overwhelmed with information to the point of where we are now and continuing to go is such a far-fetched idea to me. I can see that people back in the late 70s, early 80s, and even further back than that, when TV started coming around, can start getting the idea that, oh my God, where are we going down in this rabbit hole of just continual information, to the point of where at this current moment in time right now, I don't think it's a far-fetched idea to think that eventually we would be able to download our consciousness inside of a computer or download it into some type of mainframe like that. I really don't. I think that eventually we may not see it in our lifetimes or a couple of generations past us, but if we don't have some extinction level event that happens to us as human beings, I think that within maybe the next 100 to 200 years, the possibility of downloading your consciousness into a computer or some form of information like that is highly possible.
Yeah. I mean, we're okay. So we're going to get in a little bit into like specific stuff from this movie, talk about actual scenes. And do like a medium rundown of the movie. We're not going to tell you everything in the movie because you've probably seen fucking Videodrome. So our main character is Max Wren. He's the president of Civic TV, a Toronto UHF television station specializing in basically mostly softcore porn and violent shit.
My favorite.
And he's looking for new stuff. And there's a guy named Harlan who finds some shit with his unauthorized satellite dish, which he thinks is coming from Malaysia, called Videodrome. There's nothing to it. It's literally just masked guys beating the shit out of a what looks to be an Asian lady on a wall of clay with water coming down.
Right.
So, this is what starts Max down his feverish thing of trying to find more of this. He then goes to a talk show where he has to defend his station's programming choices to Nikki Brand, a psychiatrist and radio host, and Professor Brian Oblivion, a pop culture analyst and philosopher who only appears on television. That's because we find out he's been dead for a long fucking time, we think.
Mm.
It's kind of fucking hard to tell. The great thing about this movie is not being able to tell what's real and what's a hallucination by Adam, and also what's being set up by the government for I said Adam, didn't I? What the fuck?
Yes.
For Max.
It seems kind of odd to me, with all those fucking videotapes and shit that were in that place, how this guy could think of every possible scenario for him to be able to respond to people talking to him through the TV.
And not only that, how do you edit that in real time?
Well, that's a good point. I was going to say, I just assumed, it was the future. Someone had basically figured out what people do on YouTube for fun now, where they edit a bunch of stuff together to make a new speech. But you're right, he did have real world responses, so I don't know.
Right, like when they're in that the scene that we're talking about right this second, where they're in that fucking where they're in the news station and dude's doing his interview with what's her name, and sorry people, y'all know that I'm shitty with names. This guy was responding to the host of the show, like Jerry said, in real time. It's like, how can you possibly think of every single scenario like that?
Now, to be fair, his response was kind of generic.
It was a monologue,
he didn't really
too.
he didn't really answer the question directly. But still, nonetheless, like when you go into the video that's sent to Max from him, is that Max's hallucinations? Is that pre-recorded because he knew the future, or what? Like, you don't know what the fuck's going on at that point.
I think that one is his hallucinations.
Most likely, that would be the most common thing. So Max ends up dating Nikki. Nikki gets really turned on by watching Videodrome, and so they have sex, and he pierces her ears while they have sex. Because that's attractive.
That's a thing, man.
Sexy.
That's a kink.
Well, I know stuff like that's kinky. It's just like, they're like, how can we show this as a kink in this movie without going too far? Oh, just, fucking shove needles in her ear.
There's a lot of things that's crazy to me as I watch this movie that are supposed to be extreme for the time, and I'm looking at them and I'm just like, Yeah, that's really not that extreme.
Yeah, that's true.
But then again, I used to work at a tattoo shop, so seeing somebody get pierced is nothing to me.
Yeah, but have you seen someone get pierced while they had a penis inside them?
I haven't seen it like in person.
But you've seen videos.
Oh yeah, like I said, man, there's shit like the whole thing, the Videodrome setup and stuff like that. Oh, man, I've seen worse than that on porn sites, on everyday porn sites. I'm not talking about damn, the fucking deep web and shit. I'm talking about like everyday fucking goddamn porn sites. That's nothing. Hell, you can go buy magazines with more extreme shit like that in the gas station on the corner.
Yeah, but the interesting part about Nikki is the fact that she is a psychiatrist who kind of helps people, and herself, when you think of a psychiatrist, you think of this normal person who has everything put together, and then you come to find out that she is into sadomasochism and shit like that, and in the 80s, that would be looked at as like, oh, there's something wrong with him. Nowadays, it's just like, yeah, that's a fucking kink, it's all good.
Oh yeah, this is pre 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, Kenneth, you're off the show. we will be replacing you with a watermelon, so that sentence can never be said again.
Hey man, I'm sorry. This is pre that where every as I think where did I see that quote somewhere or I heard it in a movie or something like that or an interview where it's like every housewife in America suddenly wants to get beaten by a rich guy.
I know.
That was 50 Shades of Grey.
Fair enough. So we find out that the Videodrome signal is coming out of Pittsburgh, and of course this excites Nikki, and she really wants to go be on it. But Max is like, yo, I don't think this is fake. You do not need to do this. So Max ends up tracking down Oblivion, which he's in a homeless shelter, which really it's just his daughter, Bianca, who ends up running it, and
she was kind of hot.
Yeah,
she wasn't bad looking.
So he starts getting hallucinations once he gets this video in, and he finds out that these are just the side effects of Videodrome. When he gets this hallucination that his torso is turning into a gaping hole. Which
so is
I would
that
like to point out.
hallucination? Because later in the movie, when they stick the VHSs in him, is that him just...
No. Okay, first of all, everyone, it is not
Beta.
VHS's tapes. It is beta.
Okay, well, whatever.
We are accurate on this show.
Yeah, the
I'm just tired of
format
everyone
that
saying it.
lost.
Yeah, funny enough, it only lost because it wouldn't do porn. It was actually a superior format. But they
A
wouldn't
friend
do
of
porn,
mine's
so
got
they
a bunch
lost.
of them. You remember Tommy? You met him at the damn at Days of the Dead. He's got a shit ton of them. He's got Jaws on beta.
Yeah. So it just bothers me that everywhere when I'm looking at this, people are calling it VHS and calling his stomach a VCR, and I'm like, bitch, no, it's beta. But they don't tell you it's beta in the movie, so unless you either know what a beta looks like or you do, 5 minutes of research, you won't know.
Doesn't he at one point say, do you have any on beta? And then when he's talking to the guy's daughter.
Oh yeah, when Bianca's like, what format would you like? And he's kind of fucking with her, yeah.
But for everybody out there that's listening, if you ever want to know the quickest way to tell the difference between a VHS tape and a beta tape from the time period is when you look at both of them, they look pretty close to the same, except for a beta is just a little bit wider from front to back, and it also one side of the reel is covered.
It's also shorter. It is not as tall as a VHS.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like from the fucking label side to the tape side is a little bit fatter, and then from side to side is a little bit shorter.
Yeah, it's like my penis versus Kenneth's penis.
Right.
So
Jerry's got the girth.
I got nothing, baby. So we find out that it's you can basically get a brain tumor, and that's how Oblivion died. Quote unquote, or that's how Oblivion found out, is he got a brain tumor from all this shit, and he believes it was done purposely to him.
I want to go back to what Jay was asking just a minute ago, and I'm curious about this myself. All right, where he's talking about when they put the betas in his stomach and stuff like that. Okay, there is no real fine line to figure out where hallucination and reality is going. The only thing that I can think of is that obviously the vagina in the stomach and the skin over the gun and all the rest of that stuff is hallucination. But at this point, if it's just the thing in his brain where he's got the fucking tumor in his brain and all the rest of that, how are they implanting what they want him to do?
I believe
that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, is them putting the betas in his stomach a metaphor for the mental manipulation they're doing, or is it like the end of the movie actual like body horror that happens to him? Because Oblivion at one point was saying that the tumor is creating new body parts and stuff.
I believe that it is 100% all hallucinations, and them feeding the tapes to him is his way of seeing the manipulation, because that's the way that mentally he's being rewired so that he can accept the explanation of him being told to do stuff that he can't refuse, and that in his brain is by them forcing it inside of him that he is now a machine, and they can put orders into him and he has to do them. How he's getting it in real life, it could be as simple as them telling it. It could be seeing certain flashes on a TV, or just some kind of signal being sent to him or something like that.
Do we ever see him take the helmet off? I can't remember.
No, I think the scene ends and it's just the next scene.
So we never truly see him take the helmet off, right?
Are you saying that maybe he never leaves outside that helmet?
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Even though at the end of it they don't.
The Matrix is a ripoff of Videodrome. Saying it now.
Oh Jesus Christ!
But either way, I mean, maybe he never does. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's right then that But I can't remember. Like the hallucinations started, but maybe when he puts the helmet on is when they start influencing what he's doing.
But if he never takes that helmet off, he's not walking around fucking in regular life with that gigantic helmet on and not being noticed.
That's true.
True.
So I don't think that's the case. I do think the helmet is what turns it into where he like full on like is hallucinating for the rest of the fucking movie. After that helmet, there's no real world to him. It is all hallucinations, and it is all the changeover, and it becomes worse when he goes to Bianca. And that's the one thing I don't like about this movie. I don't like how his brain gets rewired from what the government does to him to Bianca, who then rewires him again and changes him further with really no explanation of how she does it besides she shot him.
Yeah,
I think it just helps snap him back to reality, and then he goes on his own.
But he hallucinates. He still hallucinates. He still sees his hand as the fucking mutated flesh gun.
Well, I mean, her shooting him ain't gonna fucking kill the brain tumor in his head. But maybe it fucking goddamn sent the wires back, or maybe it brought him into some kind of, realization or something, kind of like what Jay said.
It could be, but then he's walking around with all those gunshots with no fucking problem.
Well, so the mind is a crazy thing. So if he was just shot once in the stomach, and really it's only a few hours, maybe it's not like a couple of days, where after that snaps him out of the government programming, and he decides that as he's dying, he'd rather go take out the people responsible so they can't do it to anybody else, real or imagined, and he goes kills them, and then he kills himself at the end, right?
Yeah, but we'll get there. Well, here's my thing: is maybe he never actually got shot, and he just thinks he got shot. It was his hallucination that got shot. Because in that scene, the rewiring is Bianca showing him the tape of Nikki being strangled to death. And then somehow Bianca reprograms him.
But see, I don't think it's her reprogramming him. I think after that, he's making his own conscious choices, and the tape of seeing someone he cared about being tortured just snapped him out of his programming.
But he's still hallucinating.
Right, but he's never going to stop hallucinating. It's just
Yeah,
now
he's
he
got
can
a
make
tumor.
his own decisions.
I feel like he's still not making his own decisions because I feel like at this point now he's Bianca's play toy. And Bianca's war against them.
Yeah, you may be right about that one. I mean, and that's the crazy thing about this movie is none of the main part of the narrative, you know what I'm saying, is really explained at this point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can sit here and we can wax intellectual all goddamn day long about all the fucking metaphors and shit that are in this movie, but the main part of it, the fucking goddamn meat, is once after he puts that headphone on, man, it's anybody's game of what the fuck is going on, other than the fact that he goes and kills people.
Yeah, because from the Bianca reprogramming, quote unquote, because we don't know if it's reprogramming or it's either reprogramming or it would still technically be reprogramming. It was just or reprogramming or unprogramming. Your choice of front words there. God damn it! How dumb am I? What is that called again? When you add the letters on the front?
Prefix.
There we go. Prefix for death. So at that point, he then goes and this is why I think he's still Bianca's play toy, because you got to think Bianca and Convex are completely against each other. So she then sends him to kill Convex because Convex sent him to not only kill the other people at the station for Civic TV so that the government could have Civic TV. Which I feel like there was much easier ways to do that, but whatever. But I also think this is an American government in Canada, because they never really say which government it is, and I don't think it's Canada's government doing it. I think it's America's government, and they're going to experiment doing it in Canada before they do it in America.
Yeah, Canada's way too nice to do that to their people. Right, Heather? Wink.
Yeah. And then to go kill Bianca, and then Bianca somehow rewires and blah, blah, blah. And so he then goes to kill Convex. He shoots Convex, and he still hallucinates because he still sees his fucking gun hand fucking thing. And he shoots Convex, and then he leaves, and he goes on a boat. And he doesn't know what to do. And then, of course, TV appears with Nikki on there. And Nikki explains to him that he's done all that he can, but Videodrome still exists. He hurt them, but not enough. And he can't do anything more at this point in his condition, and his condition being one of being fucking alive. So he asks Cal, and she shows him a video. Now keep in mind, she's just on the TV also. So it then clips over to him shooting himself in the head while saying "Long live the new flesh," and so then he does that in real life. And at this point, you're just going, if this was him making his own decisions, I don't think we get this ending. This ending is why I'm against that. I think Bianca rewired him, and I think Bianca had him kill himself.
I'm willing to accept that that's a possibility, but it's I guess that's just a great thing about these kind of movies and this kind of writing, is that it's definitely open for your own interpretation.
Yeah.
And David Cronenberg wanted to do another ending. He wanted to do one where it shows the aftermath of after he fucking kills himself, like of how shit changes and stuff like that.
That might have shed some light on it.
Yeah, but there was things that, because if you watch some of the videos on about because I watched some of the shit from the Criterion collection that I happened to find on YouTube, the way that the fucking Canadian government was going at that time for you to be able to get basically the Canadian government was funding movies being made so that way they could fucking reap the benefits of the fucking box office and stuff like that, almost like putting it back out. So the Canadian government would front the money for people to do it, but they had to do it during tax time. So you only had a fucking window of like September to December to be able to make these movies. Yeah. And so a lot of times what would happen, and I think that's everything that I might be leaving something out.
You're a little off.
I might be leaving something out, but I remember watching that video and they only had this window to get it done. So it wasn't the first time that Cronenberg was stuck making a fucking movie that he didn't have it. He was so rushed that he didn't have an ending.
Yeah, he didn't have the script finished. And from what I was reading, I don't know off the top of my head. But he didn't have the script finished, and it's not that he has the window of September through December, is that it has to be done in the same year. And I don't mean like a year from start to date, but I mean literally like has to be done in 1982.
Yeah, like fiscal year or something like that.
Yeah. If I remember right, it's not that the government makes money off the box office return. It's more of like they give you tax incentives.
It was
you
something
get
like
tax
that.
breaks if you go do it there, which because it gives their people jobs. So it's kind of that deal because that's how it is in Georgia. If you like film in Georgia, you get tax breaks.
It was more than that because there was rich people in Canada that could invest.
He had backing. This was his first movie where he had like a legit budget and had backing from Hollywood.
Right.
It bombed. It was $5 million to make, and it only made $2 million at the box office. But
for people out there that's listening to this, you can go on YouTube and you can get a whole breakdown of how this worked. All you got to do is just type in Videodrome, whatever, on YouTube, and you can find the one that's got a breakdown of exactly how that whole fucking monetary thing worked when Cronenberg was making this movie, and then I want to say the one before it. He didn't, because I think he made like 2 or 3 movies utilizing the Canadian thing before Canada stopped. And I can't remember what the other one was that he didn't have a script for, that he didn't have a finished script. Scanners was the one. Scanners was the one that he didn't have a finished script for. And he fucking muddled over the end of Scanners for a long
I didn't like
fucking time.
Scanners.
I did. I enjoyed Scanners.
I like Scanners, but I definitely like Videodrome more. I'd have to rewatch The Brood to see if I like The Brood more than Scanners. I like Scanners, but I'm not as big on Scanners as I am The Fly and Videodrome. Videodrome being my favorite.
Well, what made Scanners was special effects, and we're going to segue right into that. The special effects in Videodrome are great.
Oh my god, yes.
Absolutely.
Some of them look, even the ones that look kind of bad now, I still can look at him and go, yeah, but in 1983, that was fucking balling. Like the scene where his hand is turning into a gun for the first time, and you can see like the screws coming out and going into his flesh. Like, yeah, that looks a little off now when I'm watching it in 2019 on a fucking Blu-ray in 1080p. But it still looks good. It's not so bad that like it's awful.
For the year I was born, that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's fucking great. The scenes of everything they did with the TVs having to fucking like, they apparently, the TV that like bulged and moved and shit, they had that hooked up to like a fucking keyboard that they would then press a button and it would like cause the TV to bulge or breathe or move or whatever.
It was the veins. The veins, and because they had the other stuff that would make the TV like wave, but the veins themselves is what they were keeping the rhythm going, like the veins were fucking pulsating with them, life going through them like people veins. But that whole scene where he's face fucking the TV was fucking great anyway, because when the screen comes out, I actually sat there when I was watching it and I was like, okay, how did they do this? I was like, because this is a fucking CGI, so how did they do this? And I thought about it before I watched the videos. I was like, well, what they could have done is they could have put some kind of cloth type material or something like that on the fucking front for the screen and then rear projected onto it to fucking goddamn make it look like it was a TV screen, and then fucking goddamn just blew air inside of that and made it fucking balloon out. And come to find out, that's how they fucking did it.
I was about to say, so that's exactly how they did it.
Yeah. And
there was a demo of the Videodrome TV at the Museum of Pop Culture that caused us to get 1 billion new likes and follows when I posted the pictures of it. And you could actually put your hands into it and do like he did. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing, man. Because it was like when I was watching the scene and when he was doing it, I thought it was really cool. But what really got me is when he reaches up and he gropes the screen like he's groping a titty. I was like, okay, yeah, that right there. I was like, that's fucking awesome. That is so fucking cool. The special effects that they did right there, and so that was my favorite. That one was great.
My favorite is I love when something is inserted into a body part that's not supposed to have a hole. I love the scenes of people putting the beta tapes inside his fucking stomach. I love watching him like push his hand inside himself because it makes me feel really uncomfortable. I'm one of those people that you know that like shiver that kind of goes up your spine and makes you kind of tweak a little bit. You're just like,
Yes.
Like when you're getting a real good piss.
yeah, but more uncomfortable. Like
when you see a spider that you didn't know was there.
no, it's not.
Because I get that, man. When I see a spider that I didn't know was there, and then I kind of pull my hand back, I'm like, ugh.
No, it's not. It's this uncomfortable feeling that goes through your body. Like it's a physical experience that I have, and I get it a lot. And I get it when if I'm even listening to a podcast and someone's explaining something that is fucking gross or like brutal or something like that. Like it goes to my body and I feel uncomfortable. Like I feel it also when people touch my feet. I don't know how to. I really don't know how to fucking
know
explain
somebody
it.
like that with feet.
I hope other people know what I'm talking about. Like it's a physical fucking feeling. It's similar to when you're going down the road and you go that hill and your stomach kind of drops. Except it's not located to your stomach. It's your whole fucking body. It transcends your entire fucking body. And I get that when I watch shit like this. And I just love that special effect. It fucking gets me.
Yeah, that whole fucking phallic thing that goes on when he like shoves the gun into his belly where it just straight. I mean, there's no other way that you could fucking interpret that other than, something completely Freudian when he shoves that gun into his fucking belly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, because it's just straight looks like a fucking damn penis going into a vagina. I mean, just straight up.
Oh yeah, there's so much fucking psychosexual shit happening in this movie.
That one was my favorite. And then the other one where you see like the gun hand thing come out of the TV screen. I mean, and it clearly looks like a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Jay,
one was great.
Jay, what special effects did you really like in this movie?
I loved when his hand was turning into a gun. That was fucking great. It reminded me, actually, since we mentioned it earlier, it reminded me a lot of the Tetsuo movies a little bit with the transformation. But I love that. That was fantastic. Trying to think of anything else really, really like caught me off guard.
I like when they killed Convex and like when he fucking falls down and starts opening up and
he
it's
was
all
fucking
this
like bubbling into like tumors and shit and just exploded.
I was just like, that's fucking gross. I am disgusted and pleased with myself, and I don't know why I have a hard on. And it's very I just really love this fucking movie. I love the Videodrome segments. Oh, also cool thing, the Videodrome segments and the samurai porn and then the Greek Roman orgy things that are shown, they created all of that, and none of that was like taken from other movies. That was all created for this movie, which is pretty dope. But it's fucked up, man. I could go into some serious weird shit that's out there on the internet. Like it would, if you're gonna remake a movie, you could really remake Videodrome and update it and do it right. I just hope it's not treated poorly. Like, I haven't watched it, but I've heard enough bad about it. The Slender Man movie that came out last year.
It's awful.
Yeah, not the documentary, but the actual movie. Just so I'm clear for the audience. I heard that thing's fucking awful, which pisses me off because, like, Slender Man's creepy as shit when you go back to, like, the OG shit from where it was created on the Something Awful forums by Victor Surge. And you go into, like, the first times where it's actually done in video, like, the beginning of the Marble Hornets YouTube series.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you want good Slender Man, watch Marble Hornets.
Yeah, but they only did that for like the first little bit, and then they started going into fucking... I stopped watching it because it became about a guy with a fucking painted face that almost looked like dead presidents, sort of, that would show up in his room and stuff. But the original stuff they did, like what I call their season 1, with Slender Man, was fucking great. It was so goddamn creepy.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Slender Man. And then you remember how long I was waiting for that goddamn documentary to come out?
I know. I gotta watch that shit. I still haven't seen it. I need to text my dad and be like, put that on the Plex.
Oh yeah, that's right. have HBO anymore.
No, but I only had it for Game of Thrones.
Right.
So fuck you,
But
HBO.
But yeah, man, damn. And then fucking, I was looking forward to this movie. I was like, fucking, finally, they're gonna put out a damn Slender Man movie, and blah blah blah. And yet again, it was another one where the studios fucked it up, because originally the guy that fucking goddamn wrote it and director and everything had a much fucking darker, more sinister fucking damn movie envisioned. And then because fucking, like they always do, the studios want to fucking appeal to the masses, they change shit up and they fuck something up that could have been awesome.
Was it supposed to be rated R and they dropped it to PG-13?
Of course.
But I figured they would. Honestly, certain horror movies come out and they're aimed directly for the teenage audience. Slender Man, I could easily see being one you drop PG-13, but I think you could do Slender Man PG-13. I really fucking do.
Oh yeah, it's creepy atmosphere. It's not really gore. Like, you could easily make it super creepy if they did it correctly.
When it comes to movies like that, I think the difference is when you take a director that is intentionally trying to push the limits of PG-13, like James Wan or somebody like that, who will make PG-13 movies and R-rated movies and push the limits for PG-13 to where it could almost be there but still be creepy as shit. And then you take a person that intentionally wanted the movie to be rated R the entire fucking time, and it gets goddamn raped to fucking turn it into a PG-13 movie, and then it fucking sucks.
So, well, I agree with you. I've always said that there's nothing wrong with PG-13 horror. It's when you cater the movie to be PG-13 that it becomes a problem. You should just make your movie, and whatever rating it gets, minus X, because that happens sometimes, and then you have to cut it down to a really hard R. But whatever rating it gets, is just let it be. It's when you make a movie and then it gets an R rating, and then you cut stuff out to give it a different rating just because you think you'll sell more, even though movies keep proving time after time that R-rated movies sell just fine.
Look at it,
that's
chapter
when you
1.
have a problem.
Yeah. It chapter 1 made a fucking. I mean, I think that surprised all of us how fucking far that one went. I mean, I figured it was going to be decent, especially with the hype that it got. So I knew it was going to do fairly well in the box office. It surprised me at how well it did.
Yeah. And I mean,
I don't think chapter 2 will do that good.
I don't think it will either. Well,
it's got a pretty stacked cast.
It does. I just wonder if it's gonna because I think it chapter 1 also was coming right at the tail end of all the people dressing up as clowns and running around doing stupid shit, and so it that was like unintentional hype that kind of built it. But I do think a lot of that will carry over from everyone who went and saw chapter 1 is probably going to go see chapter 2.
I mean,
I don't think it'll make quite as much money as chapter 1. But I think it's still going to obviously blow it out of the water. But on the PG-13 versus R thing, I think when you're making the movie, before you fucking start filming, you should know what rating you want.
Right.
And it just sucks when, because in this case of Slender Man, I haven't seen it and I haven't done the research, so I don't know, but it sounds like the director wrote an R script and the studio came in and was like, you're making a PG-13 movie.
Exactly. I mean, and that's basically what happened. And so, like I said, man, I mean, when you do that, and it irritates me so bad because I get why studios got to make their money back. I understand, you know what I'm saying, and they want to make money off what they do. I get that, but at the same time, we see it time and time again where movies just get fucking, I mean, just obliterated because they want to cater so hard to people and not pay attention to fans of certain things. And I know that when it really comes down to it, fucking fans don't run Hollywood, but in certain instances they should.
See, and I think this is the philosophy that Blumhouse has taken, where they put out all kinds of movies to cater to everybody. They do them for on the grander scale of things, a lower budget than most movies, and they almost all make their money back. And it's just, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, that's true, because they did Truth or Dare, which most horror fans didn't like, but it it hit really well with that teen audience. They did Halloween, they did Happy Death Day. I mean, they definitely have a wide spectrum of horror, and you look at every little thing.
Happy Death Day was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie in the world, but I enjoyed it. It's one of those that I would probably watch again, and I'm definitely going to watch the second one. So, and I think they're coming out with a third one too.
No, someone rumored it, but one of the people involved was like, unless Netflix comes up and ponies up the dough, there is no Happy Death Day 3.
Okay, and I only caught it as a glimpse on like my Google feed, but you know, fucking Halloween's getting 2 more.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I just watched Halloween H2O,
Right.
and I was just like, we really don't need any more Halloween movies.
I mean,
Yes,
and I agree with Jerry at this current moment. I mean, it's just like, okay. I mean, because I'm not on, I've never really have been on the Michael Myers bandwagon. I thought the Rob Zombie movies were good, and the other ones have their place. But, you know, I feel like it's done. And in my opinion on that newest Halloween movie it was a Halloween movie. It fell into the same fucking, I put that one in the same realm as 4 and 5, even though, and I enjoyed 4 and 5, but that's the way that movie felt to me. It felt like it felt like it, not story wise, but atmosphere. It felt just like those to me.
Yeah, I love the kills in the new Halloween. I thought the story was decent. I didn't care for the ending. So, obviously we won't go into spoilers because, I mean, that's still only a... Like, we won't talk specifics because it's, you know,
Still
not
fairly.
the movie we're talking about. We're talking about Videodrome, and we're not going to spoil another movie that's been out. Unless the movie's been out for over 10 years, then I fuck it, I can spoil it. But if it's...
I think that was my exact words to you, Jerry, it was another Halloween movie.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Jay, I'm assuming you liked it more than all of us.
I did. I really liked it more. So before it came out, I sat down and watched every single Halloween because a few of them I hadn't seen.
I'm so sorry.
And I had the box set. First one is good. It has its place, but a lot of it is a lot of the shots are odd. The final sequence is a lot of fun. The second one is a good follow-up, and that was supposed to be the end. We all really like the third one, but that doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers. Then 4, 5, both felt like kind of like standard slashers, especially at the point in time where they came out, where Jason was already super popular and like the slasher had really taken off since the original Halloween. So they just kind of felt like standard slashers, nothing special. 6 was atrocious. H2O was okay. Resurrection was atrocious. I loved the Rob Zombie, the first one. It's been a long time since I watched the second one, so I'm not going to bother with opinion on that.
Sorry, real quick. The way you said Rob made me think of Roomba, and now I just want to get a Roomba and put a speaker to
Give
it.
it a butcher knife?
No, so it plays Rob Zombie music while it's cleaning, so I can be like, oh, it's my Roomba zombie. Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches as it's cleaning my fucking floor. All right, continue.
But 2018, to me, and what I look for and enjoy in a slasher, felt probably the most balanced out of all the Halloween movies. It had a good amount of tension. It had a good mix of background stuff, like when he's beating the shit out of the guy at the gas station, even though that's not what the camera's focusing on. And it had a good amount of in-your-face gore, too. So as long as the same team is attached, I'm down for the next 2. It might very well be my favorite iteration of Halloween and Michael Myers.
Yeah, I'm ready to see it. But let's get back on track because I want to touch on something that Kenneth and I kind of talked a little bit before we were recording. The one thing that Videodrome itself is missing to me, there's really no tension. It feels like the same tone throughout the whole movie. Like the mystery continues and kind of resolves around stuff. At no point is there a lot of tension or anything like that. The movie almost is like monotone. And it works. It's a very rare fucking instance where this would work for a movie. It kind of makes the movie better that it's monotone because you kind of feel weird that there's no tension. Like this movie should have tension, but you don't feel any tension, which is to me really fucking weird. But it works for the movie. Kenneth, you had thoughts on that too, right?
I mean, I did. I can't remember exactly what I was thinking at the time.
It was literally an hour and a half ago. Come on.
Yeah, but you got to think about how many thoughts that I have gotten from my brain to my mouth in the past hour and a half.
3,036.
Okay, we'll go with that. But yeah, I mean, and I agree with you. I mean, it's like to me the movie just wasn't suspenseful. Like you had shit that was going on, but I'm trying to remember exactly how I put it. When I was talking about the narrative itself, it was, I can't remember exactly how I put it, but I agree with you. It wasn't suspenseful to me. It was just like you were just watching the progression of what was going on, and you're interested in it, and it's enjoyable to watch. But at the same time, I mean, it's just like, this is just going on. I mean,
yeah, there's no jump cuts. There's no quick editing. There's no like music build up.
There really wasn't anything that put me at the edge of my seat, anything else like that. I mean, like when I was watching it last night, you know, I'm just sitting there with my pipe in my hand, man, just fucking goddamn, just slowly fucking damn puffing on my pipe and fucking watching this movie. Like there was no point in time where I'm like gripping harder or any of the rest of that. So it was like, you know, I felt like I was just enjoying a nice smoke and contemplating this movie, and that was about it. You know what I mean? I mean, there was nothing really other than that was going on when I was watching it. And in as much time that I've had to watch this movie to do this show, I watched it last night.
Kenneth, all I could picture was you smoking your pipe, contemplating, just going, Videodrome, should I fuck my TV? And as a guy who's done drugs and fucked a VCR, I can honestly, I did that before I'd ever seen Videodrome. I can say I understand the thought process, Kenneth.
Oh yeah, totally. I've fucked a TV before.
Yeah. Jay, what are your thoughts on this whole tension thing that I've brought up?
So I think it doesn't have tension in the traditional sense. I feel like the tension comes once you have it starts, stupid brain words. At first, it may even seem, there may be some deeper levels of this, but at first it seems pretty easy to distinguish between hallucinations and real life. But I think the tension comes from not knowing exactly what's going on as you get further into the movie. And that's kind of where it comes from, as opposed to any kind of traditional sense of tension. So where I wasn't like, oh no, is he going to get caught by the bad guy? It's like, this shit is fucking with my mind as much as it is the main character.
Okay. I mean, I can kind of see how you can get tension out of the confusion, because they do a really good job of not knowing what's a hallucination and what's hallucination and what's not. And I mean, as we've debated in here, we can't even fully decide who's controlling the hallucinations at what point. Yeah, I could see getting tension from that. I just think it's really odd that I never got any tension out of this movie, and Kenneth didn't either. But it's not a point of issue. Like normally you would be like, there was no tension, it was boring. But in this movie, it's not. This movie's great because of the subject matter, but it's also great because it pretty much at this point going forward, it's a movie that works at any time point. It is universal at this current injunction, and as we continue going forward, it just becomes a more and more closer look at how media is affecting us, and now how that can go, how it even has a bigger push from what used to be word of mouth to now being a viral sensation pushed by social media. It's great. And I love this fucking movie, so I guess we're going to wrap it up with... I highly recommend watching Videodrome. It's my favorite David Cronenberg movie. While it will not, like, give you anxiety, it is a great just fucking watch as you have to contemplate, you know, would you have sex with a girl who wants you to cut her? You have to decide that, and that's really what this movie is about. How far are you willing to go into someone else's fantasy, but with the risk of it becoming your new fantasy?
I've talked to girls like that, and I decided I couldn't do the cutting thing. I wouldn't trust myself to do it without hurting them more than they want. I wouldn't trust myself to not get like addicted to it. I can't do that.
And then if you
I-
you know accident manslaughter, you know what I'm saying? You gotta take that in consideration.
No, baby, I told you. When it comes to cutting, we do it masturbation style. We don't cut each other. We cut ourselves in the same room together.
Right, I could do that if she wants
Yeah.
to. Like, I'm down with that.
I mean, I'm not into that. If anyone who knows me knows, pain and sex are not together for me. Do not bring any pain towards me, even when I'm not having sex. I'm not one of those guys that likes the whole fake punch in the arm or like really hard slap on the ass. I do not like that shit. Don't do it to me, whether we're fucking or not.
I'll give you a good grab on the ass though.
A grab is fine as long as you're not like trying to rip the fucking meat out or something. But like guys be trying to pinch nipples and shit, and I'm like, bro, if you want to fucking just suck dick, we can go suck dick, but don't hurt my fucking nipple.
No. I have to disagree, Soul Roller.
Okay. The nudge game is different. Shout out to Shit Happens Every Time I Die. The nudge game is a completely different thing, and that is an exception. There's always an exception to the rule, Kenneth. You don't even know.
No.
Fuck, I gotta watch Shit Happens again.
Oh, you need to rip that. Send it to me.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a cheap DVD or not nowadays. I need
Maybe.
to look. But yeah, so but this movie is fucking fantastic. So final thoughts for me is highly recommend go fucking watch this and enjoy the fuck out of it. Jay, any last words?
It's good shit, man. Even if James Woods is James Woods.
You know, I gotta say, I like James Wood in this movie because I just watched John Carpenter's Vampires, and
I love that one.
I did not like him in that movie. His acting just did not. He did not pull off badass enough to me. I'm like, you skinny motherfucker, sit the fuck down. You weigh as much as I do.
I really want to get that fucking collector's edition that's coming out of that.
Scream Factory. I think Vampires is okay. It's a mediocre movie.
I like the concepts it puts forth, the way that they hunt them, the nests, the fucking harpoon on the Jeep, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, James Wood is no Vampire Hunter D, but whatever.
Well,
I actually like the sequel that had fucking Bon Jovi.
I was about to say, do you prefer Bon Jovi?
It's my life and I'm killing vampires.
I actually really enjoyed the
They're not
sequel.
gonna live forever. Okay, I'm sorry. I've never seen it, so maybe I'll have to fucking watch it. Kenneth, any last words on Videodrome?
I really don't have any. I mean, pretty much everything I wanted to say I did. But one thing that I forgot to bring up at the beginning of this is I watched a movie that I haven't watched in a long time, and it's on Shudder. It's called Threads, and
Sounds familiar. I don't think I've seen it though.
it's you want to talk about something that's fucking scary? Watch that shit.
Hold on, I'm about to look this up real quick. Threads. 1984? No, that's a TV movie.
It may be. It's a British movie.
Oh, okay, maybe it is. Let me see. The effects of a nuclear holocaust on the working class city of Sheffield, England, and the eventual long-term effects of nuclear war on civilization.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that sounds pretty fucking good. That
There is no humor whatsoever in it. It is a extremely bleak movie, and it's very realistic. Yeah, it's one of those movies that I watched a long time ago when I was living in Franklin, and I had actually forgotten about it. And I was scrolling through Shudder looking for something to watch the other day, and I came across it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I haven't watched this in a while." And I watched it again, and yeah, if you want something that's really fucking terrifying that is completely 100% plausible, watch that shit.
okay.
Because I mean, the realism in it. I mean, because I think a lot of times nowadays we are so desensitized to certain things because of all the shit that we see, you know, going back to Videodrome, all the shit that we see, social media, TV, internet, everything else like that. We're so desensitized to things like that we forget that some of these movies that have put things like that into perspective, or the metaphors that you can draw from movies like Gojira and stuff like that, we forget. And when you watch a movie like Threads, you remember, and how close we could be to being in a situation like that. And that movie was fucked up. And it's one of those that when you get done watching it, you're like, holy fuck, and this could really happen.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, shit. Next, well, that's it for Videodrome. Go see the fucking movie. It's amazing. Next episode, I believe we already have picked out. Kenneth picked out this episode. Jay's picking out our next episode. And Jay, you're still sticking to us all doing that one thing? I just want to confirm before I say it.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember what one thing I suggested.
Oh,
Jerry hates action.
Well, no, it wasn't a Jerry hates action. We can do Jerry hates action next if that's what Jay wants to do. But I am going to leave it up, Jay. Jay, you wanted us to all review an episode of Are You Afraid?
Oh yeah, I want to do that. I need to download the show. That reminds me.
Yeah, you got to find the show because you're going to have to give us whatever episode we choose. I'm just going to go. Okay, so I don't have, and we'll get into it on the episode, but Kenneth and I actually don't have a lot of nostalgia or remembrance for the show. I could not tell you a fucking episode to my life. I can remember the kids sitting around the campfire, but I can't remember what an actual segment of the show was. I can tell you tons of Goosebumps, but not that. So it'll be kind of interesting to me to see if I can find one that sparks that hidden nostalgia. But we're all going to pick an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? So that's 3 episodes. And we're all going to review those 3 episodes for the next episode of Kill the Cast. So that's our next episode. Next episode of Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space. I think we're doing Godzilla versus the Sea Monster is what we're doing. Yeah, pretty sure. And then coming up, probably not until late August, you'll hear me on the podcast Under the Stairs top 10 summer series as we do the 90s. I am on year 98 and 99. 98 we have recorded, and I record 99 this coming Sunday. So that'll be fucking fun.
I'm actually, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at some of the people that were in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
And there's a few good notable people in this, like Joanna Garcia, which y'all may not know, but I'm a fan of the show Reba, and she was Cheyenne from Reba. Rachel Blanchard.
Oh, fucking dude that was in Shameless is in Reba.
Yeah. Alicia Cuthbert was in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I know who she is.
Ryan Gosling.
I think Ryan Gosling is also in Goosebumps.
Yeah, Jacob Tierney. Vanessa Linguez, I think that's how you pronounce her name, but you recognize her because she is the chick that is about to turn 18 and waiting.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Daniel DeSanto.
She was hot in that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Not in Waiting when she's almost 18, not when she's a child in this show.
But yeah, I mean, so I didn't realize that there were such good people in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
This show, I grew up with this show, and it's basically Tales from the Crypt, but kid-friendly. But the stories and the writing, I think, is pretty phenomenal for a kid's show. That could be nostalgia and false memories, but just thinking of a few of the episodes and the twists that those episodes had, there were some pretty genius episodes out there. And I already know which one is my favorite. But we'll get into that when we do that episode. But yeah, that's the episode I want to do.
Okay. Dope. So that will be the next episode of Kill the Cast. Then after that, I guess we're going to take more turns choosing. Anyone can forfeit their turn if they just don't know, and I'll choose. But so after Jay, it'll go to me, and I'll pick something, and then it'll go back to Kenneth. So we're gonna have a little bit more fun, unless it's an episode that we have to do because it times up with something. Sometimes we have to do that. Like I don't know what we're doing for our anniversary this year, but it'll probably be. Well, no, we'll probably do the Matrix before then. Our anniversary show will be
an Evil Dead retrospective.
No, fuck you. That's cursed.
We did Lion King.
That's not the horror movie.
It depends on how you look at it.
I mean, yes, there's a very depressing scene in it, but it's not technically horror.
I mean, Scar is pretty terrifying, dude.
No,
if you really start to take time to think about him.
No, we do Italian horror for our anniversary because the first episode we ever did was Italian horror. So we always do an Italian horror. So I'll probably make one of y'all watch. I'll probably make y'all watch another fucking Giallo or something. Because a lot of people have been interested in. I have gotten a lot of feedback when we do Giallo about how.
What's the second movie in the trilogy for fucking City of the Living Dead?
The 3 movies are City of the Living Dead, fucking The Beyond, I think is the third. What is the fucking second one? I know I have it. Is
You should know this.
God damn it! Hold up.
You're fucking slipping, man.
Hold on, I'm gonna figure it out.
The silence is deafening, asshole.
God damn it! Shut up. Fucking City of the Living Dead. Fuck. It's got the weird fucking kid in it. From
Gates of Hell. Oh, wait, no.
No, Gates
House
of
of the
Hell.
Cemetery.
Yes, House by the Cemetery. That's what it is.
Okay. Let's do that one.
I don't like House by the Cemetery. We can though.
Who gives a shit?
Wouldn't we do The Beyond first?
The reason why
the Beyond's the best of the three.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm saying that is because fucking that's where it started. So let's fucking damn knock those out.
Okay, we'll do one of those. We may leave it up to all. I think we should do House by the Cemetery before we do The Beyond, but The Beyond is the better movie. I recently got to see The Beyond in at a theater. It was fucking balling.
Cool.
Okay, so there's kind of some of our plans as we go forward, and I don't think we have anything else. Check out all the fucking links. Check out the Facebook group. Check us out. There's a new app called Flick Chat, which is apparently like for a message board for podcast. We're on it. Search Kill the Cast. You can find us. It's Kill the Cast, all one word for the group code. You can check us out on there. I don't know if it's going to take off or anything, but I put us on there for the hell of it. Check us out on YouTube. Check me out on Twitch. Check out Kenneth on Instagram. All links are in the description, so you can see all that shit. Join us. Go buy a Underwater Kaiju shirt or a Kill the Cast shirt. We got that Suicide Club shirt. Now that you understand Suicide Club from our last episode, which I was actually worried it wasn't getting a lot of hits, and then out of nowhere it kind of had a small boost that pushed it back up, so I was pretty excited about that. Because I put a lot of fucking work in that episode, you fuckers.
Yeah, you
better
did.
listen to it.
Yeah,
God
I
damn it.
actually got to get my my Suicide Club T-shirt. I really like that shirt.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. So, with that being said, we are fucking out of here. We will see you next time. We love you. Kenneth loves you even more if you're dead. And Jay loves you no matter what.
Yes, that's true.
All right, so we're getting out of here. Enjoy this song, Bodyhead by Greyhaven. I reached out to them on Twitter and they said I could play the song. So, if you want to hear an interesting fucking song, listen to this because I think it fits perfectly with body horror. And if not, we will see you fucking next time.
Chicks with dicks.
They're singing bye, bye, and bye. I walk down the street, it's just like everyone around. Say what I say and mean. Bye, bye, and bye. I walk down the street, it's just like everyone around. Say what I say and mean. I've been spending my time just wishing you'd pull a plug. I feel like a machine. Oh, I've been spending my time just wishing you'd pull a plug. I feel like a machine. Oh, but I've been spending my time just wishing you'd pull a plug. 'Cause I feel like a machine. Oh, I've been spending my time just wishing you'd pull a plug. I feel like a machine. Oh, I love with myself. Everything that I see is split. I'm in a war with myself, and I'm losing it. do a thing when I look at my body. I look down at my hands and they don't do what I want them to do. And these feet, they don't take me where I need to go. We're saying bye, bye, and bye. To walk down the street, it's just like everyone around feels nothing you can be. Bye, bye, and bye. To walk down the street, it's just like everyone around feels nothing you can be. And all you know is fucking live for show. I'm taking all that's wrong. It's swallowing you all. All you know is fucking live for show. I'm taking all control. It's swallowing you all.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Hellming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick Six Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, Two Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.